Welcome to the Innovation Brief by IdeaScale,
Yeah.
the show for all you chief innovation officers, CEOs, directors, and tech leaders out there, helping you stay ahead of the curve and all that. And
Yeah.
um, well, today we're diving into something that might surprise you:
Oh, yeah.
government innovation.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to really try to unpack how governments can be like real drivers of innovation and what that actually looks like, in practice.
Right.
You might be thinking like government innovation, really, but
Yeah.
did you know that the U.S. government invests hundreds of billions of dollars every single year in research and development? I mean, and across so many sectors.
It's pretty amazing.
And we're not just talking about, like defense contracts, but we're talking about everything from, healthcare to just fundamental scientific research.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the scale of government involvement in innovation, it's truly vast. I think it's
Yeah.
often underestimated.
For sure.
But it goes beyond just funding, though. What's really fascinating is the government's role in fostering a culture of problem solving, user-centered design, data-driven decision-making, and not just within its own agencies, but in the broader ecosystem.
Okay, so let's define our terms here.
Sure.
When we talk about government innovation, what are we actually talking about?
Yeah.
It's not just about inventing new gadgets, right?
Absolutely not government innovation. It's about finding creative, efficient, and impactful solutions to public challenges.
Okay.
So it's about improving public services, making them more responsive to citizens' needs,
Yeah.
and ultimately just improving people's lives across the board.
So it's about applying new ideas and approaches to create tangible, real benefits for society.
Precisely. And a key aspect of that is a willingness to experiment and take risks. Calculated risks, of course. This might seem counterintuitive, in the context of government,
Yeah.
which is often perceived as bureaucratic and risk-averse. But embracing experimentation, it's crucial for discovering the most effective solutions.
I can see that. It's like running pilot programs or prototyping a new service.
Exactly.
You learn, you adapt, you iterate to create something really impactful.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the idea of failing fast and learning from those experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, you mentioned that governments have all these different tools that they can use to drive innovation.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the key ways that they actually foster innovation?
So there are at least 10 key areas where governments play a vital role.
Okay.
And some might surprise you.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Take public procurement, for instance.
Wait, you mean government purchasing?
Yeah.
How can that be a driver of innovation?
Well, it's all about leveraging the immense buying power of the government strategically.
Okay.
Right. So imagine the government sets very specific requirements for its purchases, right?
Okay.
Requirements that incentivize the development of cutting-edge green technologies, right? That could push entire industries to shift their focus towards sustainability to meet those demands.
Oh, wow.
For example, in the early 2000s, the U.S. government's investment in solar panel technology through procurement contracts, that helped drive down the cost of solar energy, making it more accessible to the public.
That's a great example of how government decisions can create this ripple effect across the private sector, influencing innovation in kind of unexpected ways.
Absolutely.
So beyond procurement, what other roles do governments play?
Well, policy development, that's absolutely crucial.
Okay.
Crafting regulations that encourage entrepreneurship, protect intellectual property, and remove unnecessary barriers to innovation
Yeah.
that can create a fertile ground for new ideas to flourish.
Makes sense.
And of course, direct investment in R&D
Right.
through grants, loans, tax incentives, that plays a major role.
Yeah.
This is where agencies like the National Institutes of Health or the NIH, with its annual budget exceeding $40 billion, come into play funding groundbreaking research in areas like disease prevention and treatment.
Wow. 40 billion with a B.
It's incredible.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of our listeners, the U.S. government's role in tech development might seem like a world apart from their own organizations.
Sure.
So are there lessons we can learn from these large-scale government initiatives
Yeah.
and apply them to innovation within our own companies?
Absolutely. One of the most important takeaways is the power of public-private partnerships.
Okay.
When government agencies team up with private companies, universities, research institutions, they can pool resources, expertise, and infrastructure in a way that accelerates breakthroughs. It's about recognizing that innovation thrives in a collaborative ecosystem.
Could you give us a concrete example of how these partnerships actually work in practice?
Sure. Take the Small Business Innovation Research, or SBIR,
Okay.
and Small Business Technology Transfer, or STTR programs. These programs are designed to help small businesses develop high-risk, high-reward technologies with significant commercial potential.
Mm,
Essentially, the government provides funding and guidance to these businesses, helping them bring their innovations to market.
interesting.
For instance, a small biotech company developing a revolutionary cancer treatment
Yeah.
could receive funding through the SBIR program, allowing them to conduct clinical trials and bring their life-saving treatment to patients sooner.
So by supporting these smaller, more agile companies,
Yeah.
the government is indirectly boosting innovation across a wider range of sectors. It's not always about the government directly inventing something new,
Right.
but rather creating the conditions and providing the resources for innovation to flourish.
Exactly. It's about fostering a vibrant ecosystem where innovative ideas can take root and grow regardless of where they originate.
Now, while we often associate government innovation with cutting-edge technologies and scientific breakthroughs, I'm curious about the less obvious areas where the government is driving innovation.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of those areas?
That's a great question. Think about the government's role in ensuring the safety and interoperability of emerging technologies.
Okay.
For example, the Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA,
Right.
plays a crucial role in shaping the development of the drone industry by setting safety regulations and air traffic management guidelines,
Right.
enabling the safe integration of drones into our airspace.
I see what you mean. So agencies like the FDA, the FCC, NIST,
Uh-huh.
they're all working behind the scenes to shape the landscape of innovation, ensuring that new technologies are developed and deployed responsibly. They're not just regulators.
Right.
They're active participants in shaping the future.
Precisely. And we can't forget about the government's push for broadband expansion.
Oh, yeah, the big one.
Bringing high-speed internet access to underserved communities has a tremendous impact on economic opportunity and digital inclusion,
For sure.
essentially leveling the playing field and enabling people to participate fully in the modern economy.
That's a critical point.
Mm-hmm.
Access to technology is becoming more and more essential in today's world.
Absolutely.
And the government plays a key role in bridging the digital divide and ensuring equal access to opportunity.
Absolutely. And then there are the government's efforts in boosting STEM education and workforce development.
Okay.
By investing in education and training programs, the government is nurturing the next generation of innovators
Hmm.
and laying the foundation for future technological advancements.
Right.
This involves initiatives ranging from supporting science fairs and robotics competitions to providing scholarships and grants for STEM education.
So it's a long-term investment in building a pipeline of talent
Yeah.
that will drive innovation for years to come.
Yeah.
They're essentially planting the seeds for future breakthroughs
Right.
by empowering the next generation of thinkers and creators.
Exactly. And speaking of pushing the boundaries of what's possible, we can't overlook the advancements in space exploration being driven by government agencies like NASA. The Artemis program, with its ambitious goal of returning astronauts to the moon and establishing a sustainable presence there, is a prime example.
It's hard not to get excited about the possibilities when
Yeah.
we think about humans returning to the lunar surface and pushing the frontiers of space exploration.
It's truly inspiring, and these initiatives often involve close partnerships with commercial space companies,
Yeah.
highlighting the power of collaboration in driving audacious goals forward.
This conversation has been incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
I think it's clear that governments have a much more active and multifaceted role in innovation than we often give them credit for.
Right.
They're not just regulators.
Right.
They're active participants and catalysts in the innovation ecosystem.
I wholeheartedly agree. And it's important to remember that government-led initiatives and investments have the potential to benefit all of us, both directly and indirectly.
Yeah.
They often create ripple effects that extend far beyond their initial scope.
Hmm.
It's like they're laying the groundwork for a more innovative future for everyone.
That's a great way to put it. But how can our listeners in the private sector actually tap into this wellspring of government-driven innovation?
Well, I think it means recognizing that the government isn't just a regulator, you know,
Mm.
but a potential partner, a source of funding, and a driver of market demand.
Okay.
It's about actively seeking out opportunities to
Yeah.
collaborate and leverage the resources and expertise that the government has to offer.
So it's almost like expanding your innovation ecosystem beyond the traditional boundaries of the private sector.
Exactly. And remember, the government is constantly evolving its approach to innovation.
Right.
New programs and initiatives are being launched all the time, so it's crucial to stay informed about the latest developments and be proactive in seeking out these opportunities.
It sounds like there's a real need to bridge the gap between the world of government innovation and the private sector.
There is, and that's where platforms like IdeaScale can play a key role. IdeaScale can connect innovators in the private sector with government agencies fostering those public-private partnerships that are so crucial for driving breakthroughs.
That's a great point. So much of innovation is about collaboration.
Absolutely.
And IdeaScale provides a platform to facilitate that, whether it's connecting businesses with government agencies or researchers with entrepreneurs, or even just fostering collaboration within a single organization.
Exactly. It's about breaking down silos and bringing together diverse perspectives and expertise to tackle complex challenges.
This conversation has really opened my eyes to the fact that innovation isn't just happening in Silicon Valley startups.
Oh, yeah.
It's happening in government labs, research institutions, and even in the way public services are delivered.
That's right. Innovation is happening everywhere, and it's driven by a diverse set of players, including the government. And I think that's incredibly exciting.
It is. So for our listeners who are eager to bring this mindset back to their own organizations, what advice would you give them?
Sure.
How can they cultivate a culture of innovation within their own teams?
Well, it starts with leadership.
Okay.
Leaders need to create an environment where creativity, experimentation, and even a little bit of risk-taking are encouraged and rewarded.
Yeah.
It's about empowering your team to think outside the box and challenge the status quo.
So it's about shifting the culture away from a fear of failure and towards embracing experimentation and learning from mistakes.
Precisely. And don't be afraid to look outside your organization for inspiration and collaboration.
Yeah.
As we've seen, partnerships can be incredibly powerful drivers of innovation, whether those partnerships are with other companies, universities, research institutions, or even government agencies.
I think that's such an important reminder. It's easy to get caught up in our own little world,
Right.
but there's a whole ecosystem of potential collaborators out there,
Yeah.
each with their own unique perspectives and expertise.
Exactly.
And those partnerships can lead to truly groundbreaking innovations.
I couldn't agree more. And one final thought I'd like to leave our listeners with is this.
Okay.
Don't underestimate the power of small ideas.
I love that we often get caught up in the idea of needing some like grand revolutionary concept
Right.
to drive innovation.
But sometimes the most impactful innovations come from those simple, practical ideas that address a specific need or challenge.
It's about fostering an environment where everyone in the organization feels empowered to share their ideas, no matter how small they might seem.
Yeah.
Because you never know where that next big breakthrough is going to come from.
Exactly. It could be that quiet intern in the corner who has a brilliant idea that no one's ever thought of before.
And that's the beauty of a truly innovative culture. It's about creating a space where those ideas can surface and be nurtured, regardless of where they come from.
That's right. And speaking of empowering your team to innovate,
Yes,
that's where IdeaScale comes in.
absolutely. IdeaScale's innovation management platform provides the tools and resources you need to turn your work team into innovators.
It's about capturing those ideas, collaborating on them, refining them, and ultimately turning them into real-world solutions.
So if you're ready to unlock the innovative potential within your organization, we encourage you to book a demo for a free trial at ideascale.com/cover. You can find the link in the show notes.
It's an invaluable resource for any organization that's serious about building a more innovative and agile culture.
And of course, be sure to subscribe to the Innovation Brief for more insights delivered every Tuesday and Friday.
We love hearing from our listeners, so please leave a comment below and share your biggest takeaway from this episode.
Yeah.
We're always looking for new ideas and perspectives.
Until next time, keep those innovative ideas flowing.
And remember, innovation is a journey, not a destination.
That's a great way to put it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into government innovation.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a really fascinating look into a topic that I think doesn't get enough attention.
I agree, and I hope our listeners, come away from this conversation feeling inspired and empowered to embrace the power of innovation, regardless of where they are in their journey.
Because whether you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company or a team lead at a small startup, the principles of innovation are the same.
Right.
It's about, fostering creativity, collaboration, and a willingness to experiment.
And it's about remembering that innovation isn't just about technology. It's about finding new and better ways to solve problems and create value. Whether that's in the products we develop, the services we provide, or even just the way we organize our teams.
So to all our listeners out there, I really encourage you to embrace that innovative spirit challenge, the status quo. Seek out those unexpected collaborations and just never stop exploring new possibilities.
And remember IdeaScale's motto, turn your work team into innovators.
That's a great way to wrap things up. Thanks for joining us on the Innovation Brief. We'll be back with more insights and inspiration on Tuesday.
Until then, keep innovating.